I'm Attica Scott, former Kentucky State Representative, and you're joining me today on State Election Night.
We will continue to provide updates as we have more information.
Kentucky State Representative, and you're joining me today on State Live Streams.
I got 3 books. I got to set the books over here. And so, I want to take them out.
She has these tabs.
Good evening. I'm Councilor Kevin Kramer, Chair of the Budget Committee. I did. Are they ready? I'm trying to see again. Good evening. My name is Kevin Kramer. I'm Chair of the Budget Committee. I'm joined by my Vice Chair, Marcus Winkler. This is May 21st. It is just after 6 o'clock. This is the night that we have set aside and reserved for public input. So we're glad that you're here. We value what you have to share. I would point out to those of you who are here, and equally importantly to those who may be joining online, this is certainly not the only way that you can communicate with us. Each one of us would be happy to receive your emails. You can email the clerk of the council directly. There's a walkthrough form that you can actually log on to, and if you are particularly energetic, you can call any one of our council offices and leave messages with our legislative assistants as well. So this is just one opportunity for the public to participate. This evening, we will limit each speaker to 3 minutes. We are going to move through the list of speakers that I have in front of me. There is one group that it looks like there are 2 different folks who want to speak to the same item. What I'm going to ask, please, is that you allow those whose agencies who have not had a chance to speak before the second person. So the first person on the list happily will have you speak, but if the other person that's with you could wait until everybody else has had a chance, we would appreciate that. There are several new council members joining us tonight, and as well as new guests in the audience. I would point out to folks that typically on this evening, we will not answer questions that you may have of us, and we will not be asking you questions either. If there's information that you feel like you'd like for us to have beyond your 3 minutes, please submit that to the council clerk, and she will make sure that we get all of it. If you are offering information tonight and you would like for a council member to respond, if you believe a council member would want more information, please leave your contact information with us so that we can reach back out to you should we have questions. That said, I know one of the biggest questions that I've gotten this year as budget chair is around the decision that was made about the external agency funds. Last year at this time, the council requested and the mayor agreed to take a look at the external agency funding process, and I've asked my Vice Chair, Councilman Winkler, if he would speak to that just a bit before we start.
Chair Kramer. So yes, in response to the budget language we had last year, we asked the administration to go back and review the EAF process, and really there were sort of 2 or 3 primary objectives that we were looking to address that we heard from both nonprofits that we funded as well as council members. One of them related to, when you think about EAF grants, you can sort of have 2 strategies for how you fund agencies. You can fund as many as possible, which is you entertain as many grants as possible, regardless of size, or you can try to focus your efforts on impact. And part of the discussion that we've had as a council over multiple years is, providing grants for $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 is very difficult to see an impact to that money versus funding things at larger scale. And so one of the recommendations the administration came back with in working with council was having minimum requirements in terms of the size of the ask. One of the other things that we heard from our nonprofit partners was we didn't typically allow operating expenses to be part of the ask, and so often we're asking you to create new programs even when you had asks for operating expenses. So this year we did allow for operating expenses as part of the ask. And then refinements around the scoring process. I know, we had a number of challenges in the past where either people missed scoring, people were late submitting things, there were questions, and then applications were disqualified. And so making sure that we had adequate notice policy, procedures for addressing those sorts of things. So I think we all recognize the process still isn't perfect and is one that will continue to evolve. But I think it is one that has addressed some of the challenges that council and the administration have expressed in the past. I know it's a process ultimately, I think one thing that's important to remember is that regardless of where the EAF process ends up funding, it's not a commentary on any individual program. The work that our nonprofits do in our community is vital to the success of Louisville. And unfortunately, there are millions upon millions, tens of millions, or hundreds of millions of dollars of need and ask, and quite frankly, in this budget, $750,000 to address that ask. And so there are always going to be people that we are simply unable to fund, and that is simply a consequence of scarcity of the budget and not an indictment of any individual program or the value that it provides to the community. So I hope that addresses, Chair, what you were looking for.
Thank you, it very much does. I really appreciate you doing that. Couple housekeeping items before we get started. First, this meeting is being held virtually. I've got 2 council members joining online, so if the clerk could please read the virtual meeting situation into the record.
This meeting is being held pursuant to KRS 61.826 and Council Rule 5A.
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge that we're joined online by Councilman Reed and Councilwoman Shanklin. I've already mentioned that I'm joined by my Vice Chair, Councilman Winkler. I'm also joined in chambers by Councilwoman McCraney, Councilman Leninger, Councilman Herndon, Councilwoman Parrish-Wright, Councilman Owen, Councilwoman Bast, Councilman Sam, Councilwoman Hawkins, Councilwoman Ulrich, Councilman Joseph, Councilman Bachon, Councilman Benson, Councilwoman Purvis, and Councilwoman Chapman. Again, we will move through the list. I will invite you to come forward, and then we will have an opportunity to hear from you for 3 minutes each. First on the list is Paul Robinson. Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Paul Robinson. I'm the president and CEO of Home of the Innocents, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you here this evening. There's a flyer there at your space that we have left for you. Home of the Innocents is expanding our skilled nursing facility from 76 beds to 126 beds to meet the increased demand for care among medically fragile children of our community. This expansion includes 50 new ventilator-supported beds, which are essential for the most medically fragile residents of our community. Thanks in advances to care and medicine, our residents are living longer. In fact, we've seen a 100% increase in the average number of medical diagnoses per resident over the past decade. The longer lives bring greater complexity and deeper responsibility for us to provide continuity of care. For decades, our residents would discharge from us when they returned 21. From those discharged at 21, we tracked and monitored roughly 40% of them passed away within the first 18 months of their discharge. This is a heartbreaking statistic that we are committed to changing. We have successfully partnered with the state to update the state health plan and regulations, allowing us to care for residents now for the entirety of their lives once they come to us as children. The Kentucky General Assembly has already committed $30 million towards this transformational expansion. We are asking Louisville Metro government to provide a one-time capital investment of $5 million to help make this project a reality. This capstone gift will bring us to the full match and fulfill the state's investment challenge. Our funding model is cost reimbursed. This is a very stable operative model, which ensures that the sustainable care that we provide for our residents will go well into their adulthood. By saying yes to this investment, Metro government is able to help us complete the match, which is going to unleash $30 million in funding from the state. It is going to help support the expansion and the modernization of the care for one of the most vulnerable populations in our state. It is going to help create 250 skilled positions that will reside in the downtown corridor. It is going to help fuel over 550 construction jobs for the 2.5 years of the duration of the construction. But as I leave you, the most important thing is that this investment is going to help children like Haley. Haley came to us when she was 6 months old, relying on a ventilator and battling high respiratory needs. She has been in and out of hospice care multiple times throughout her life, and despite that, she is now 25 years of age. Her family was terrified at the thought that when she reached 21, where would she go and who would take care of her? I had the opportunity to share with her family that we are going to be her home for the duration of her life, and they cried tears of relief, hope, and gratitude. Thank you very much for taking this time to listen to my request. I appreciate your consideration. We are joined also by Councilwoman Woolridge, Mulvaney Woolridge, sorry. Next on our list, John Young.
Good evening, Council. My name is John Young. I'm the Executive Director of the Legal Aid Society. I was appointed Executive Director on April 18 of this year, but I've worked at Legal Aid for 24 years. I've done every kind of case that Legal Aid handles. I'm here to talk to you today about Project Help and ask that this body restore funding for Project Help. Project Help is a program where we have 2 attorneys that visit area homeless shelters, mainly St. John's Center for Homeless Men and for Women and Children. They'll go to other locations as needed, and they provide civil legal services to the folks there. We're not doing affirmative litigation. The types of cases that we're doing for folks are Social Security disability cases, so people can have income so they can get back into housing. We're helping people with SNAP benefit applications so they can keep themselves, and so they're not relying upon soup kitchens and community ministries for food. We help people with veterans benefits, a whole host of services that Legal Aid provides. Let me tell you about a success story to illustrate what we do. When we first encountered Danielle, not her real name, right, because of confidentiality, she had been chronically homeless. She was an amputee. She lived in chronic pain. Her disability benefits had lapsed because she had continuing disability review. Social Security Administration mailed her a letter notifying her of that hearing. Well, she didn't get it because she's homeless. Our attorney comes in, enters his appearance in the case, appeals it, restores her benefits. She gets a back pay award. She gets benefits going forward. She gets back into housing. This program is very impactful. In 2024, with the funding that was there previously, we represented 627 unique individuals on 799 legal cases. 119 children were secondary beneficiaries of our services. We recovered over $1.1 million for our clients, okay? Louisville Metro government put in 120, we recovered over 1.1 million. That's close to an 11-to-1 return. Legal Aid has many programs, and like a parent doesn't have a favorite child, I don't have a favorite program, but I'll say, this is a very special program. It's very impactful, and I hope that this body restores the funding. Thank you.
Next up is Dr. Dawn Shannon. I can't tell, Dr. Shannon, will you be joined at the podium by Liz Shannon or
Yes.
She's going to speak.
No, she'll be joining me, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, Good evening, my name is Dr. Dawn Shannon. I am the program coordinator at Children Have Options and Choosing Experiences that are known to this community as Choice Inc. We are a nonprofit, community-based prevention, early intervention program founded in 1987, licensed by the Commonwealth of Kentucky Cabinet Health and Family Services as an alcohol and other drug abuse prevention program. 38 years of serving this community global. Choice provides life-changing support to youth ages 8 to 18 who are facing adverse childhood experiences, are also known as ACEs, are also known as childhood trauma. I respectfully request that this committee review the scoring methodology used in the EAF application process. Through recent public record requests, we obtained individual reviewer scores for our application, which appear inconsistent with the final composite score provided. The document scores were as follows. Reviewer 1, 30 out of 30, 100 out of 100. Reviewer 2, 29 out of 30, 93 out of 100. Reviewer 3, 28 out of 30, 94 out of 100. Given these high scores, we are seeking clarity on how the final composite score was 70.3 was calculated. If weights or additional factors were applied, we appreciate the transparency regarding the formula used to ensure the process that aligns the EAF standards evaluation criteria. We respectfully requested $75,000 to support a $200,000 expansion plan of our Dare to Dream Sports Leadership and Mentoring Program, which has been in existence since 1994. We are active in Fern Creek High School, Iroquois High School, Waterston Elementary, Young Elementary, and Dixie Elementary. We are planning to scale our program to include a male mentee group at Dixie Elementary, in addition to including mentoring groups at J-Town High School and Central High School. We trust the committee shares our commitment to fairness and accountability and allocation of public funds. A review of this discrepancy will not only address our concerns, but also strengthen the confidence in the process for all applicants. Choice serves the kids who are often left out of conversations, those navigating trauma, instability, and systematic changes. 1 in 4 Kentucky children have experienced at least 2 ACEs, which is confirmed by our program as well. ACEs include abuse, neglect, and household dysfunction, including poverty. Through mentorship, leadership development, academic support, and emotional skill building, we help these children, and we hope that you guys will take the time to review our application and the methodology that was used with our application, given those reviewer scores. Thank you.
Maria Gorin, I believe I pronounced that correctly. Let me rephrase that. I hope I pronounced that correctly,
Maria Gurin, that works. My name is Maria Gurin, and I serve as the Executive Director of Imagination Library of Louisville. We are the local affiliate of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. I'm here today to request that you include funding in the city budget to support this program. Unfortunately, we were not eligible to apply for EAF this year, so this is our only path to funding in the city budget. We are asking for $150,000 so that we can continue sending a free, high-quality, age-appropriate monthly book to over 18,000 children in Jefferson County every single month to help them develop a love of reading and prepare for kindergarten. As you may know, more than 50% of Jefferson County children enter kindergarten unprepared to learn based on the kindergarten readiness assessment. And unfortunately, we know that when children start off behind, they tend to stay behind. Imagination Library is trying to change this by enriching home literacy environments and making sure that every family in Jefferson County has a new book to share every single month. Books arrive with a child's name on them, which creates an attachment to reading at an early age, and they're chosen specifically for that child's age. The overwhelming impact of our program was captured in our recent program evaluation conducted by U of L's Early Childhood Research Center. Of the parents surveyed, 81% reported that their children are reading more frequently since joining the program. 77% say their children are asking them to read out loud to them more frequently. 83% believe that the Imagination Library books are supporting their children's kindergarten readiness, and 88% report that they sometimes or often notice their children using vocabulary words from the books. 96% of parents surveyed have recommended our program to another parent. These results are incredibly promising, and they highlight the need for continued investment. In addition to the impact of the program, Imagination Library is incredibly cost effective. We are locally responsible for covering the cost of every book that we send, which, including shipping, is only $2.60. Half of this cost is covered by the state through a matching program that we hope will continue in next year's state budget, which leaves our cost just $1.30 per month per child. You can be confident that city dollars allocated to us will be spent efficiently and effectively. Although the cost per book is low, when serving as many kids as we are, it does add up. We expanded to serve families countywide in 2023, and currently more than 1 out of every 3 children under the age of 5 in Jefferson County is receiving a monthly book from us. We've been actively fundraising to maintain our progress and continue to grow. Metro Council supported our program in last year's budget. Thank you all very much. And we hope that you will continue to provide support. As you know, the early childhood years are crucial. You can't go back and redo the first 5 years of a child's life. You have to get it right the first time. This program has the potential to improve kindergarten readiness in our entire community and affect children across the entire city, but we need your support. In your meeting packets, you'll find a chart of how many children we're currently serving in your district and a bit more about our budget requests. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. I've watched a little bit of baseball, so I'm gonna try this. Susan Buccino, you're up. Lauren Hayes on deck. I was Buccino. Lauren Hayes, you're on deck, and Gary, looks like Waters, you're called.
My name is Susan Buccino, and I am the Executive Director of CARE, operating at the Arthur Street Hotel. Metro Council members, clerks, community members, thank you for showing up for Louisville. We are in a moment in our country's history in which unkindness and division are not only acceptable but celebrated. Isolation is a national epidemic, and despair is pervasive. The antidote to this is to show up, to build community, and everyone in this room is doing that by just being here today. The Arthur Street Hotel addresses Louisville's homelessness crisis by welcoming some of the city's most marginalized residents. Our hotel guests have been turned away from emergency shelters, rejected from hospitals, and cleared from public spaces due to their behavioral health conditions. In fact, Louisville Metro utilizes public resources to criminalize this population because they have no place to go. The system has perpetuated their isolation and despair. Every day, the Arthur Hotel team shows up because we want a Louisville that embraces its residents rather than trashing them. By providing shelter, positive relationships, and services, we aim to stabilize and house folks. We offer crucial support for housing navigation through peer support and case management. We also pay for application fees, deposits, household supplies, and furniture, all necessary to access and maintain an apartment. We see people at their worst and still say, "I love you," frequently, because we believe in this community. Metro Council, the administration, and business stakeholders have stated that addressing chronic homelessness is a priority for downtown development and community safety. Our success reducing chronic homelessness in Louisville is unlike any other organization. 70% of hotel exits are to permanent housing, which amounts to 303 people who have moved from the streets of Louisville in the last 3 years. The hotel is a cost-effective alternative compared to the $161 that Louisville taxpayers spend to host someone at LMDC for 1 day. Our model costs less per night while preventing crime, trips to the emergency room, and a drain on other community resources. Although we've been told that the Arthur Street Hotel is an important contribution to the wider Louisville community, we receive financial support from only a very small group of individual donors. Our EAF applications totaling nearly $900,000 for both the hotel and ongoing case management to keep people in housing were awarded positive feedback and $0. Without an investment from the larger community, this project is not sustainable. Metro Council members, the Arthur Street Hotel and the dedication of CARE employees make a tangible difference in the city of Louisville. We show up. We provide much needed resources to Louisville residents. We move people off the streets. We combat isolation, trauma, hopelessness with kindness. We build community. Metro Council, we need you to validate and support CARE and the Arthur Street Hotel with funding.
Thank you. Next up is Lauren Hayes. On deck would be Gary Watrous, and home is Sterling Franklin.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lauren Hayes, and as CEO, I represent Dayspring, a Louisville nonprofit with 30 years of experience in providing homes, hope, and a path forward for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Dayspring is a Kentucky treasure and has not only provided an alternative to homelessness or institutional living for people with IDD, but lifelong homes and a purpose in our community. With our 3 decades of experience, Dayspring created Louisville's one-of-a-kind College for Living program, the only residential life skill training program in Jefferson County. Our College for Living program bridges the gap for young adults with IDD after high school and as they mature, offering hopeful paths for families and for students, a low-risk trial at adulthood in a dorm-like setting. This is the college-like experience that most of these individuals will never get a chance to take advantage of. Students live on campus with us 24/7. They receive daily mentorship, supervision, life skill training to help them achieve more independence and create bold futures. Our College for Living is a 19-unit HUD subsidized apartment building with private pay tuition based on a sliding scale so that we can serve families of all socioeconomic backgrounds. Within the last year, the College for Living celebrated 3 graduates, 2 students with Down syndrome, 1 student with autism, who now all 3 live independently in an apartment or patio home right here in Jefferson County. Our students are dedicated employees in their workplaces. One of them has 2 jobs. They're someone's neighbor, they're a consumer, they're a role model in our community, which makes Louisville, frankly, more beautiful. Our program's growing and we have an urgent need for capital improvements and expansion so we can help more young adults with disabilities tap into their potential. And our plan is to expand our student center and modernize it, add a computer lab to incorporate use of technology in our curriculum, upright gardens for farm-to-table learning, and accessible instructional kitchen. The all-in total project cost is $500,000. I raised $50,000. But I need your help. Only $300,000 allows me to break ground and build the expansion that I need, and I can work on the furnishings later. But I need your help, and I can't do it without you. So I request your consideration of funding in total or part of this project. I will work hard to do what I need to do to support our students and their families, and I think it's in support of the goals that you all have for affordable housing, for improving educational outcomes, for helping youth. This is a one-time investment, and I think it makes sense for you to invest in the College for Living and demonstrate that you're not going to leave anyone behind, even that child with autism, and your commitment to supporting families and individuals with disabilities, and not to mention independence benefits everyone. Thank you.
Excuse me, next up, Gary Watrous, followed by Stephen Franklin, and then Dennis Stevens.
Hello, my name is Gary Watrous. I live in Council District 5. Donna, thanks for your support. I'm an architect specializing in energy efficient design, and I'm a member of the Renewable Energy Alliance of Louisville. We want to thank the council for Metro Resolution 102 that was passed 5 years ago. That resolution had various goals. The first goal is to have all Metro government buildings use only clean, renewable electricity by the year 2030, just 5 years from now. The goal is ambitious, but it can be done. Let's put our money where our resolution is. Please budget money to make this resolution a reality. Your energy manager, Zachary Taylor, is working on energy upgrades for Metro buildings, and he's doing a great job. But energy upgrades will only go so far. To go the whole way toward clean, renewable electricity by 2030 for metro buildings, we must start the budget money now for solar electric. Providing all metro buildings with solar electric panels will save the current electric bill of $12 million a year for the next 30 years. You ask, how is this possible? Well, the solar electric panels pay for themselves in the first 10 years, after which Metro would get free electricity for the next 20 years, which means a profit of $240 million or more if the electric rates increase, and we all know they will. That money saved could be used for so many projects to benefit your constituents. As a good first step, please budget at least $500,000 for solar electric on metro buildings in this year's budget. I'm assured, please take action to uphold your resolution. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Next up, Sterling Franklin, then Dennis Phoenix, followed by Kristen Williams.
Good evening. My name is Sterling Franklin. I'm with Bluegrass Center for Autism, as well as a member of the Louisville Nonprofit Coalition. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you all today, and to the council members who have come out to visit one of our 4 locations across Louisville. Thank you for your time. It's good to see you all again. Since 2010, BCA has grown into one of Kentucky's leading autism service providers. We're nationally accredited, and every week we deliver over 2,600 hours of one-on-one applied behavior analysis therapy to children and adults from 19 different Metro Council districts. Each program is individualized to our clients to help build real skills and independence. But today, more than 350 people, mostly young children, are still on our wait list. These are toddlers who may miss their window to enter mainstream school if they don't receive early intervention. These are adolescents who need help to communicate safely, and adults who've aged out of the school system that need the support that their families cannot get alone. These are Louisville families who are doing everything right, and yet still they're waiting. That's why BCA has launched a capital campaign to double our capacity, to serve 100 more individuals each year, and to create a financially sustainable model for our future. We're well on our way to raising 95% of those funds through private and appropriated sources, but we need help to cross that finish line. For the first time, we are asking the city for a one-time capital investment of $500,000. We will not be back for annual requests. This is a moment for a bold partnership, which brings us before you. Our ask is directly aligned with the city's goals of safer neighborhoods, stronger schools, and expanded opportunity. ABA therapy reduces behavioral crises and emergency calls, helping create safer homes, schools, and communities. Second, preparing our youngest learners for inclusive kindergarten and beyond doesn't just close achievement gaps, but it honors the principle that every child, regardless of their ability, deserves a strong start. If we are serious about increasing access to early childhood education, we cannot leave children with autism and special needs behind. And finally, when families can count on consistent care, they themselves can re-enter the workplace with a peace of mind. Our adult day training program, the first of its kind in Kentucky, by the way, teaches job and life skills to autistic adults while also creating new job opportunities in our community. Council members, autism now affects 1 in every 31 children. The need is urgent. BCA has the proven model and expertise and the citywide reach to meet it. With your one-time investment, you can break through the wait list and build a more inclusive, opportunity-rich Louisville for generations to come. Thank you very much for your consideration. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Next up, Dennis Phoenix, followed by Kristen Williams, and then Harry Hammond.
Good evening. Thanks for this opportunity to address the council. I'm Dennis Phoenix, a proud Louisvillian, 31-year employee of the YMCA, and a representative tonight of the Louisville Nonprofit Coalition, aka Louisville NC. an Alliance of Kentucky nonprofit network members who work to build a stronger, more unified, and collaborative nonprofit sector serving our shared neighbors and the local community. I'm not asking for specific funding, but rather sharing insight about the importance of partnering with nonprofits to advance the goals of Metro government, which is a vital component of the budget. Louisville NC members are all charitable nonprofit businesses, so will speak tonight on their behalf. Charitable nonprofit businesses and the Louisville Metro government partner to address the needs of the local community for decades. This current budget leans on the YMCA to support important work of early learning readiness, homeless prevention, and housing services. So we thank you. Nonprofits hold a unique and crucial role in offering services, providing expertise, and filling gaps that can advance the goals of government and addressing community needs. In late 2024, the Louisville NC surveyed and hosted listening sessions for the local nonprofit community to share their expertise and vision for partnerships with Metro. 3 consistent themes compiled from more than 100 nonprofit leaders emerged. In order to accomplish government goals and priorities, they must potentially provide a seat at the table for issue experts, nonprofits to participate in solution building. This is critical. Metro government funding process must be streamlined from notice of funding opportunities and to reporting. And Metro must leverage strategic funding investments with nonprofits to move our community forward. And we thank you for listening and making some of the changes that we have to the EIF process. In his budget release, Mayor Greenberg stated, in part, Louisville is so fortunate to have a robust nonprofit community. There's no need for Louisville Metro government to try to reinvent the wheel when great work on our priorities is already being done. These commitments align with the new Louisville Nonprofit Coalition's efforts, and we appreciate Mayor Greenberg for recognizing the critical role of nonprofit businesses in our community. We ask the Metro Council to build on this, especially in a moment when changes are being made to our federal level funding. We ask today to ensure that the budget reflects these partnerships and taps into the expertise of the nonprofit organization. Visit and learn about the charitable nonprofits in your districts so that you know who to ask when problems arise in our community, and make strategic multi-year plan to invest in these nonprofits. We thank you and we appreciate what you're doing.
Next up, Christian Williams, followed by Terry Hathaway, and then Dr. Dominic Hall.
Hello everyone, my name is Kristen Williams. I'm the Executive Director for Play Cousins Collective. I'm also a mother of 2 boys, raising them in West Louisville. Big time neighborhood. At Play Cousins Collective, we are building a village around our children. We do this through community healing, caregiver support, civic engagement, and youth enrichment. We submitted a request for $75,000 to support our youth enrichment programming, which includes the Nazizi After School Program, Middle School Youth Group, and Teen Council. Our proposal scored 90.8, just under the 93-point threshold for recommendation. But we got such great feedback on that, and so that's why I'm here today. We're so close. I'm here to respectfully share why this work still deserves your support, and why this moment calls for a bold investment in youth development. Louisville is in crisis, as I'm sure you know, but our families are abundant. Direct investment in people closest to the issue has the greatest impact. I'm one of those people. Youth violence is rising. Black boys aged 14 to 19 are the most affected. Those are my sons, right? In 2023, 36% of Louisville homicide victims were under the age of 25. Schools in our neighborhoods report some of the highest rates of absenteeism and suspension in the state. Chronic stress, poverty, and systemic neglect have made our young people more vulnerable emotionally, academically, and socially. We're not just seeing the data, we're holding the grief of families and the weirdness of children trying to survive without support. We were told that our problem statement needed more urgency and that our team qualifications weren't clear enough. And so I want to share that we're a For Us By Us organization. We're built on a call and response model within West Louisville, responding directly to the needs of our families. Since submitting our proposal, we've expanded our capacity. We brought on a certified hip-hop peers facilitator, one of only a few in the state. This is a nationally recognized trauma-informed curriculum that uses hip-hop as a bridge to healing, emotional literacy, and leadership. A second staff member is currently pursuing certification before implementation begins. This training will be utilized for our middle school youth group, where kids are processing real grief, stress, and trying to figure out who they are in a city that often overlooks them. We're not just running programs, we're developing youth leadership, helping kids process trauma, rebuilding trust, and building skills that will follow them for life. We're preparing our children to inherit this village that we're creating. Our team includes experienced educators, cultural workers, mentors, and a full-time administrator. Our systems are strong. Our partners include Evolve 502, Jefferson Memorial Forest, AMPS, and many more. Our model is clear: consistent programming, whole family support, and culturally rooted care. We know the city is facing hard choices, but our young people shouldn't pay the price. We're already doing the work. We just need your support to do it better, stronger, and longer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Terry Hathaway, followed by Robert Hall, and then Andre Guess.
Good evening, my name is Terry Hathaway. I'm here as a concerned resident and taxpayer in Jefferson County. I'm here to talk about in support of Ethics Commission, transparency and accountability mechanisms. I have 3 things to share with you tonight. First, we, the public, are at a disadvantage when the budget narratives that you all get for each department as part of this budget process are not publicly available. It is the narrative that gives shape to the budget numbers, and otherwise they're very hard to interpret. So number 1, my ask to you is pass an ordinance requiring that departmental budget narratives are released as part of the mayor's recommended budget starting next year. 2, I want to talk to you about the Louisville Ethics Commission. Accountability mechanisms are critical to the checks and balances of democracy. The Louisville Ethics Commission, however imperfect it may be today, serves as one of those mechanisms for the residents and taxpayers of Jefferson County. Over the last 2 fiscal years, Mayor Greenberg and Metro Council have failed to sufficiently fund the commission so it can fully carry out its mandate as an accountability mechanism. Louisville spends far less than similar cities on ethics. Metro's budget last year added a full-time support staff position, but this fell far short of their request. They also requested a full-time executive director position that would report directly to Metro Council, and for software required to manage and enable online access to lobbyist registrations, reports, and financial disclosures. Over the same 2-year time period, all of the activities covered by the Commission's mandate have dramatically increased. The total submitted complaints to be reviewed and investigated, total Metro employees requiring training by the Ethics Commission, financial disclosures to be collected and reviewed, and registrations and reports from lobbyists reporting their lobbying activities. Here's what the Commission has already told you over the last 2 years. On financial disclosures of Metro officers, they said, quote, sufficient resources to ensure substantive review and enforcement of financial disclosure statements is a function of the Commission. It is the report of the Commission that the financial disclosure oversight function is not being fulfilled adequately. It is not practical to expect that the Commission with no staff, no budget, and no online platform for registration and information retrieval can fulfill more than the very bare minimum for this function. Whether Metro officers covered by the Ethics Code are truthfully and timely fulfilling the financial disclosure requirements of the Ethics Code cannot be answered by the Commission due to lack of adequate operational resources. They also said, I'll skip that, but they've added the login registrations for 2 years, and they need this online software to be able to put those up online. Pass an ordinance to create a Louisville Ethics Commission Executive Director position that reports directly to Metro Council and fully fund the Ethics Commission's funding request. Thank you.
Next up, Robert Hall, followed by Andre Guess, and then Carolyn Wilson.
My name is Robin K. Hall,
I'm a resident of Louisville, and I'm here to speak on LEDA and affordable housing. The budget includes 17 Metro employees who are being leased to the Louisville Economic Development Alliance, or LEDA. Compared to that, to what the council was told last year, then Deputy Mayor Pat Malloy told Metro Council that he expected 8 to 12 Metro employees to work inside of LEDA. There are 17 Metro employees on their org chart that they are proposing. That is roughly double what you were told. The master agreement between LEDA and Louisville Metro government includes administrative services without clear dollar amounts, and while taxpayers are not paying for the LEDA administrators $350,000 salary, we are on the hook for the cost to administrate his salary through Metro payroll. I am particularly concerned about the statement in the agreement. In some situations, Metro employees will be supervised by LEDA employees. Is that even legal? Because I can tell you that it is definitely not the best practice. The Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation is one of the best practices and entities. They look and manage its own staff, and then they invoice the city for time spent on the city economic development projects. This is a much cleaner and clearer tracking method to the taxpayers' dollars. Taxpayers deserve to know how much they are spending towards LEDA. So I am asking, limit the number of Metro staff underwritten by taxpayers and define the total budget amount the Metro will commit to LEDA. Second, affordable housing. This means very dear to me. I think everyone deserves a place to live. There's a lot of money in the budget designated to affordable housing. That makes affordable housing a hot and lucrative sector right now, and every contract needs oversight and accountability. Just 3 months ago, Metro Office of Internal Audit released its report on the Affordable Housing Trust Fund's project selection process, and found that the project selection process needs improvement. There is a conflict of interest with project development companies and AHTF board members who have not disclosed on multiple projects funding applications. Multiple incidents where there is no evidence that conflicts of interest related to projects abstained from voting on those projects. I'm asking, ensure that the internal audit's report recommendations are fully implemented prior to handing over millions to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund so our programs can be successful.
Thank you. Next up, Andre Gass, followed by Carolyn Lee Wilson, and then Michael Blackwood.
Good evening. My name is Andre Yes, I am the president and CEO of the Company Arts, but I'm not here today to talk to you on behalf of Company Arts. I'm here today to talk to you about a program, this local Metro government program called HEARTS, which we facilitate on behalf of the city. HEARTS stands for Healing Through the Arts. It's a program that is run in community centers all over the city for the past 3 years. Last year, I stood before you at the same time because the mayor's budget cut that program from $1 million to $200,000. You graciously added another $200,000 to that to make it $400,000, not allowing us not to cut any of the community centers that we served in. Although we did have to bring the programming down, we were still able to be in all the community centers. It is back in this budget this year for another $200,000. I'm here to ask you to do what it is that you did last year and put it back at $400,000 so we can still be in those community centers. With the time that I have left, I'm going to read to you on behalf of the artists and the community centers that we serve and their comments, not mine. Teaching artist Portia White, Genesis Arts Kentucky and Shawnee Community Center. In recent articles, LMPD stated that there's been a 43% reduction in homicides and 15% reduction of overall crime. They went on to say, quote, this evidence-based and data-driven model takes a whole health approach to crime reduction by fostering vibrant communities. With crime being the #1 concern in the past few years in too many rural neighborhoods, and also one of the main platforms Greenberg ran on, HEARTS without a doubt supports the quote, whole health approach to crime reduction. HEARTS models community engagement in a comprehensive way. HEARTS is a preventative program in that it addresses lack of access through the numerous quality arts programs led by vetted artists and offered at no cost to youth and their families. Hearts is a multidisciplinary collaborator with Louisville Metro, providing much-needed community engagement through the arts and touching a large number of youth, ages 12 to 18. It's not a reach at all to say that Hearts has been instrumental in the city's crime reduction over the past 3 years. Julia Youngblood, a teaching artist at Kentucky Center for African American Heritage. Our Hearts program is directly tied to safety for young people, elders, and all in the community. We are on the front line. One participant noted that the studio is saving her life right now. Anastasia Tapper Carrasquillo at Berrytown Community Center. The impact is visible every time we are there. Children and adults ask if and when we are coming back. Looking for Lilith at Hobby Arts Center. One parent told the teaching artist, my daughter has never felt so confident and seen in any other program. Alma Adams, the family programs manager at Backside Learning Center. VLC community is very secluded and the families there. And for the families there, Hearts is their only opportunity to experience something new. Losing Hearts will affect generations to come. I thank you for your time, and I hope that you will consider what it is that you did last year. Don't make it so that we have to cut this program, and this is frontline violence prevention. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Carolyn Wilson, followed by Michael Blackwood, and then Sherry Thompson.
Well, good evening, Metro Council. My name is Carolyn Marie Wilson. It's indeed an honor, privilege, and a freedom to stand before you and speak. I'm a veteran. I'm a homeless veteran. I went in to the landlord when it was time to pay the rent with a cashier's check for $5,430, and I guess I put that work order in too hard. She didn't want me living there anymore, and that's cool. But there's a difference between living in 40206 and 40211. A big difference. So I stand before you. I'm number 15 in line. You've heard the words fairness, accountability, transparency. And a lot of you on the Metro Council, you've been doing this for a couple of years, this budget review. There's a system. So I'm not talking about 25 to 26. I want to ask you about the budget from 24 to 25. That end of the year. I heard when the lady talked about the word ethics, it kind of got tight in here. So at the end of the year, LMPD's got this executive summary, they want to do Safe Louisville, but in your own words, 2 Samuel chapter 1:16, LMPD is allowed at 1328 sworn officers. I'm just using this department as an example, okay? They have 1,050 sworn in. So for the past 2 or 3 years, they've been running 278 officers shy. My question is, where do those salaries go? Did you send that back up? Who's in charge of that? I believe we have a right to the transparency of the end of the budget, what those allocations, who makes those decisions. I am on the barbershop committee, LMPD staff, command staff. We used to meet at the barbershop on Whiteside. I asked them, where does those end of the salaries fund go? I've written to the IG. I asked for an exception of policy. Couldn't get it past the civilian review board. So here I am asking you, at the end of the year, where does the unspent money go? Just a question. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up is Michael Blackwood, followed by Sherry Thompson, and then William Mays.
Hello, my name is Michael Blackwood, and I'm here again with the Doug Huss campaign to talk about the need for public transit funding. Councilmember Calvin Keeney said in a recent newsletter that he didn't see the need to subsidize the transit system that has failed the public. His analysis of the situation is disappointing and frankly untrue. The truth is, Park has been scraping by with a funding system 50 years old. Even as service requirements have increased over the years, Council has done nothing to close the gap. TARP is a year into their TARP 2025 redesign, a federally funded project to redesign the entire system from the bottom up to be the most efficient service they can provide. Thousands have contributed through community engagement. The people have been with them every step of the way. TARP isn't letting the people of Louisville down, Metro Council is. In short, they have 3 plans. One is to get no new funding, which has significant cuts for thousands of Louisvillians. An enhanced plan that requires an additional $10 million annually, makes some cuts, but does the best they can. And then finally, a growth option, which requires roughly 50 million more annually, but significantly expands the service and frequency to the level that working class people desperately need. I'm here to ask council to directly fund TARP the 10 million to implement the enhanced option and kick off a levy referendum in 2026 to support the growth option and let the people of Louisville decide. Councilmember Winkler, we spoke a bit after our Courier Journal article. One of your concerns was council going out on a limb to fix TARP's funding and then not having public support there to meet you. And I get it. So where is that public support? Maybe it's in the hundreds of postcards council has received so far from citizens supporting the growth option. If that's not enough, you will soon receive an ongoing petition signed by over 1,100 residents in support of public transit funding. Though maybe the voices of the working class alone won't sway you. So the same demand letter has also been signed by a coalition of local organizations. That coalition includes 9 labor unions and councils collectively representing over 50,000 working class Louisvillians, including ACU, the TARP union, IUCW, CWA, and Chief Appliances Union, ASME, the library union, the Jefferson County Teachers Association, Kentucky AFL-CIO, and the Greater Louisville Central Labor Council. Though maybe organized labor isn't enough to sway you either. Dozens of neighborhoods, nonprofits, and other organizations have signed on too, including 5 neighborhoods, the Metro Disability Coalition, the Association for Community Ministries, UL Sustainability Council, Both of Kentucky, and many others. In total, 32 organizations have signed on to our demand letter. The list is only growing with 4 signing on this week. And I know businesses are important to council too. So I'd like to say, look around at the hundreds of businesses with our Let Park Grow posters in our windows. The winds are changing. Working class people demand freedom of movement. The organizing doesn't stop tonight. It doesn't stop after the June 26th vote. The petition signatures will continue to pour in. Unions, neighborhoods, and organizations will continue to rally behind public transit. The people of Louisville will never see this as parks failing. They will know exactly who failed them if we fail back.
Next up, Sherry Thompson, followed by William Mays, and then Paige Seaver.
Hi, I'm Sherry Thompson. I have been a resident of City of Louisville since 2009. I'm currently retired and have been attending some meetings talking about where our budget should go and how we should be spending money. So rent is increasing at alarming rates. As of March 24, rent had increased by 20.2% since 2020. I have concerns because of the federal budget cuts that are happening right now and what's going to happen to a lot of the money that comes through that, et cetera. I have friends who lost their jobs with the federal government. Metro United Way, Safe and Stable Housing for All, has said that $3 million for a homeless initiative fund would be important, with $1 million invested in supportive services. Or for every dollar invested in supportive services, it saves $2.50 of the taxpayer money by reducing strain on ERs, police department, and jail. We're asking for $3.1 million in housing stability services. You all already know what those are, I'm sure. And then fully fund the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, including permanent supportive housing by $25 million. With the $15 million from 25, that was gonna produce 673 units, averaging an investment of $22,000 a piece. A full investment of $25 million in 26 would support up to 1,000 new units. Every dollar of public investment, LAHTF sees $13 of private investment. As a testimonial, after I turned 50, I lost a job 3 times before I reached retirement age, and I was very lucky I had savings because I could have found myself on the streets. I know people who have been on the streets because they didn't have enough savings to continue pay their rent, and they got evicted. We need safety nets like this. We need more safe places with qualified staff to deal with people in crisis around the clock. And we need public restrooms everywhere in the city. Because right now, unless you're close to libraries, you don't have public restrooms in the city, and it's really a shame. Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you. Next up, William Mays, followed by Paige Seaver, then Ruth Ann Sheehan. Please.
Hello, I'm William Mays. I'm a senior and resident of District 1, and a lifelong Louisville resident, by the way. I thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I would like to talk about the need for more funding for TARC in both the short and long term. TARC is working to become more efficient, as evidenced by their TARC 2025 redesign plans. However, in the short term, with the annual loss of $18.5 million in American Rescue Plan funds and potential annual loss of $10.5 million in federal and state grants for capital eligible expenses, the agency won't be able to maintain its current levels of service, which are already woefully inadequate for our city. To avoid further service cuts and enable TARC to implement its enhanced plan, I would therefore ask Metro Council to provide at least $10 million annually. Long-term, the city needs additional public transit service, at a minimum as described in TARC's growth plan with the JCPS addition, and preferably expanded beyond those plans. The benefits would be great. Service would be more reliable, extensive, and convenient, resulting in increased ridership, reduced traffic and parking problems, and cleaner air. The local economy would grow because potential employers look at the city's public transit system when choosing where to locate, and more visitors would come and travel all over Louisville to enjoy the various activities and amenities we offer. Therefore, as a senior on a fixed income and a resident of District 1, I support increasing TARC's revenue to implement the growth plan and beyond. TARC has stated that 64% more resources would be needed to implement the growth plan, or approximately $70 million annually based on their fiscal year 2025 budget. Ideally, federal government would fund it directly, but if that level of funding isn't available, then raising the city's occupational tax by 0.2%, only $2 per $1,000 of wages would cover it. Since the current rate TARC receives provides approximately $77 million annually. Just based on inflation, that 0.2% rate, which has been unchanged since 1974, should be at least 1.1%, which would require, again, a 0.9% increase. However, I was asking for just an increase of only 0.2 to 0.4%, or $2 to $4 per thousand of wages, which would be mostly paid by those who could most afford it and be much less than, for example, recent property tax or sales tax increases. TARC's budget would more or less double, approaching the transit budgets of our peer cities and making Louisville more competitive for jobs, tourism, and economic development. I would also support additional state or federal funding, but given the state and federal policies of only funding capital projects, and given the current political climate, I'm unsure if any would be available for these expenses. I would also support even raising TARC fares some, because compared to the cost of owning a car or using a rideshare service, TARC service is a bargain at only $50 a month. But rider fares are only about 6% of TARC's revenues. So even doubling those wouldn't cover the amounts needed, and more funding would be needed for either the federal government or the occupational tax. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Next up, Paige Seaver, followed by Ruth Ann Shumate Reed, and then Jose Vasquez.
Hi, my name's Paige. I've lived here my whole life, helped live here my whole life. This spring, I've helped organize town halls to the People's Budget Campaign and talk to people all over the city about what they want to see in their budget. I've heard from my neighbors in 15 different districts that I know of, and they're scared for the future. They're worried about affording food, and they're worried about housing, but not one of them wanted more police spending. In fact, some of them wrote in less. So I'm encouraged because last year, Metro Council approved $9 million less than was requested for the LMPD project. I would like you to consider, I'm a resident, I have no power over you, but I vote, but consider this year no increase, because that is $26 million that we can reinvest in our community. And I ask you to consider it because $1 billion could not equip the police to do jobs they can't do. They cannot erase the societal drivers of crime, which are poverty, youth, and lack of opportunity. Now, according to the city's own figures, the Safe Louisville Plan, a fatal shooting, that's almost $1 million in cost. It's immediate to the taxpayer, it's felt in households. Comparatively, the entire Office of Violence Prevention, with an increase this year, is getting $8 million. I want us to stack those figures against each other, consider what prevention saves us, and look at reinvesting those dollars in neighborhood anti-violence coalitions, in restorative justice, which is currently budgeted for $390,000
even though it reflects a 50% reduction in recidivism. I want to reinvest in youth-oriented programming and offer vital support in our communities while we fight the greater war against poverty and lack of opportunity. There is, if we look around, plenty of opportunity in this room. We can save over time on this endless fund for policing. We can save together if we rely less on the police and more on each other. Thank you for your time.
Next up, Ruth Ann Shumate Reed,
That's correct.
followed by Jose Vasquez, and then Tim Finley Jr.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the Metro Council this evening. My name is Ruth Ann Shumate Reed. I am a lifelong resident of Louisville, Kentucky. I live in the 6th Metro Council District and am currently represented by Councilman J.P. Leninger. I live in what could be best described as the outskirts of Louisville, Floyd and Magnolia, which is covered by LMPD's 4th Division. My reason for addressing the Metro Council this evening is the police budget. The 4th Division officers do an outstanding job. However, over the past 5 years, since 2020, the level of engagement with the community has been diminished. I do not fault the officers. This is a result of micromanaging that has descended upon LMPD from the federal government, specifically the Biden administration, which resulted in LMPD being roughly 300 officers short. Praise God, President Donald J. Trump's Department of Justice has dropped this insane consent decree. However, Mayor Greenberg plans to push forward with a 214-page document called Community Commitment Louisville's Consent Decree. And with this, hiring an independent monitor to provide oversight. This will cost Louisville $750,000, of which a portion of this will pay the salary of this independent monitor. Please do not fund this madness. We already have a Louisville Inspector General. Please put this money back into the budget to fund LMPD for more LMPD officers to patrol on the streets and for training on the Constitution and dealing with people. My neighborhood's going to hell since 2020. I live with 3 major drug houses. Prostitution, violence, and homelessness has plagued my neighborhood. Believe me, my neighbors, this is a very diverse community, and are communicating constantly with LMPD and the 4th Division, landlords, code enforcement, new directions housing. Please let the police do their job. Bottom line, stop funding for this independent monitor and fund and support the brave men and women of LMPD. And if you like pictures, I've got pictures of some of the things that have gone on in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Next up, Jose Vasquez, followed by Tim Finley Jr., and then Sonia Gray.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to say something about the budget process and what's going on with the consent decree. My name is Jose Vasquez. I'm a public safety advocate, and I'm exploring a run for office here in Louisville. I like to think of myself as a public safety advocate because violent crime in my neighborhood of Old Louisville has changed the trajectory of my life. Violent crime, vandalism, high-profile crimes, theft, I can go on and on. Our neighborhood is under siege by violent crime, and this is unacceptable. We need to address this. Unaddressed violent crime in our neighborhood affects the quality of life, it affects our mental health, it affects the state of our neighborhoods. And I urge Metro Council not to remove any money from the budget for local police, support any crime prevention initiatives. Removing money from the police is a hard no for me. And a lot of people in my neighborhood of Old Louisville feel the same way. So I urge Metro Council to support the police. We have had enough reforms. Let them do their jobs and see what the outcome is. I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Next up, Tim Finley Jr., followed by Sonia Gray, and then Chi Ao Yin Chow.
All right, and stay focused.
come to you tonight not just on behalf of the organization, but on behalf of Louisville seniors, especially those in West Louisville who are depending on us now more than ever. Elder Serve is more than a program. We are one of the largest community centers in this region solely dedicated to serving older adults. Our mission is simple but urgent: to ensure that seniors, regardless of income, background, or neighborhood, have access to the support, dignity, and community they deserve. This summer, we are poised to launch our adult day health care program serving seniors living with dementia and Alzheimer's, while also providing essential respite for overwhelmed caregivers. At the same time, our senior center, already serving over 300 seniors each month, continues to provide critical wraparound support, hot meals, social interaction, wellness programs, and a place to belong. These are elders who may not need round-the-clock care, but do need connection and consistent support. Elder Serve provides that at no cost to them, but the need is growing and resources are tightening. Tonight, I'm asking that Elder Serve be included in the city budget with an investment of $250,000. This is not a handout, it's a partnership. It allows us to meet urgent needs now while building toward long-term sustainability. We are prepared to provide regular reporting to show where every dollar goes and how it directly changes lives. I want to be clear, my goal is that within 3 years, Elder Serve will no longer need city funding. We are building a sustainable path forward, but this investment helps us get there. And this investment doesn't just help Elder Serve, it helps Louisville. It supports workforce development by enabling family caregivers to return to work. It reduces strain on hospitals by providing preventative care. It strengthens neighborhoods by helping seniors age in place with dignity. I read somewhere, you do not have because you do not ask. Tonight, I'm asking on behalf of those who built this city with their labor and sacrifice that you invest in them once more. With shifting Medicaid policies and rising demand, we're being asked to do more with less, but we can't do it alone. Please include Elder Serve in the city budget. When you do, you're standing for equality, for equity, for compassion, and the right for every senior to age with dignity. You're investing in West Louisville, you're investing in care, stability, and the future of this city. Thank you for your time. Done that quick. With that being said, thank you all, appreciate you, and we need that independent monitor too. Elizabeth, who said she deserved
Thank you. Next up, Sonia Gray, followed by Xiao Xiao, and then Katie Dillon.
Good evening, Metro Council members, members of the public, and everyone in attendance. I am Sonia Gray, the Executive Director for Echo Exploited Children's Help Organization, and we reside in Bridges of Hope Neighborhood Place. Violence. Violence is still in our children. Young lives like Ann Gallup, Serenity, and Silas have tragically lost to abuse. In 2024, Kentucky recorded over 14,000 victims of child maltreatment, twice the national average. Jefferson County alone saw more than 1,500 cases. Child abuse is often the first form of violence a child experiences, and is entirely preventable. We cannot ignore these numbers. Behind each statistic is a child who deserves safety, love, and a future. Not since the days of stranger danger have we consistently equipped children with the skills to face today's threats: bullying, cyberbullying, and all forms of abuse. The numbers are alarming. 1 in 10 children will be sexually abused before their 18th birthday, and 90% will be harmed by someone they know and trust. 1 in 4 will be bullied, and 1 in 5 will face cyberbullying. These are not rare events. They are daily realities for many children. Research proves a clear link between childhood abuse and a higher risk of violent behavior in adolescence, a pattern known as a cycle of violence. Abused children often struggle with anger and stress, leading to aggressive behavior. The National Institute of Justice found they are 53% more likely to be arrested as juveniles and 38% more likely as adults or for violent crimes. These findings highlight the urgent need for early prevention. Preventing child abuse requires a proactive approach, as research shows that only 31% of children disclose abuse within the first year, and just 29% of reported cases result in police arrest. Child sexual abuse crosses all demographics, income, ethnicity, and education. Therefore, implementing child abuse prevention programs are essential to educating both children and adults in creating a safer, healthy community. Faced with these alarming statistics, we can take action. ECHO serves as a first line of defense for many children and youth, and we're a proud member of the Louisville Nonprofit Coalition, also known as LUNC.
For over 40 years, we are transforming our community's program. We work to prevent child abuse through education, empowering K through 12 students with the tools to recognize, react, and report abuse. In the partnership with schools and youth-serving organizations across Metro Louisville, we deliver evidence-based programs directly in the classroom. This year alone, with a team of 4, we've equipped over 3,500 young people with the skills they need to stay safe. Ultimately, it is our responsibility as adults to keep them safe. By working together, we can build a community where every child is protected, free from abuse, supported, and empowered to thrive. With a funding threshold set at 93 and our application score was 92.7, I kindly ask you to reconsider our request of $50,000 for funding critical child abuse prevention education and include ECHO in the mayor's budget. Thank you so much for this evening.
Thank you. Next up, Xiao Yin Chao. I hope I haven't mispronounced that, so whenever you know I'm calling. Katie Delaney and Amina Shell.
Thank you, and you pronounced it very well, thank you. Good evening, council members. My name is Xiao Yin Chao. I am the president of the World Affairs Council of Kentucky and Southern Indiana. We are the organization that manages and administers the Sister Cities programs and relationships on behalf of the city, our city here. I'm here today just to urge you to consider reinstating the funding and meaningfully fund the Louisville Sister Cities program in the FY 2026 budget. This program is our city's only formal vehicle for local level international relationship and diplomacy. It is how Louisville presents itself to the world as a city that is open, connected, and forward-looking. Sister Cities builds partnerships that translate into economic, educational, and cultural opportunities right here at home. When people visit our city, whether they are from Ecuador or Argentina or Mainz, Germany, and France, wherever the sister cities are, and we have 8 of them, they come with new perspectives, business interests, and creative collaborations. So the reverse also happens when we get to travel to those cities. And just like we did last year with, at Mainz with some of you, and what we plan to do this fall to Ghana. The Sister Cities programs is also very important for education. They give students and educators a rare chance to connect beyond the classroom. We've heard directly from schools like Hawthorne Elementary, which runs a language immersion program and sees tremendous potential in deeper exchanges with our sister cities. Teachers are asking for more opportunities to bring the world into their classrooms, for students to gain proficiency in language immersion through virtual student and in-person teacher exchanges. And this helps to fill the gap that our own education system is unable to address, especially with the teachers shortage and the skills shortage. We know that students who engage in cross-cultural learning are more likely to be successful in a global economy. This is an investment in Louisville's future workforce and leadership. I just want to leave with 2 important messages. One, we are at a critical point. While the financial investment required for sister cities is modest, the consequences of cutting it are not. Once the infrastructure that we have built for many, many years, the relationships, trust, and coordination with our cities, when that is gone, it is incredibly difficult to rebuild. Cities like Lexington, Cincinnati, and Nashville are doubling down on global engagement. If Louisville wants to stay competitive, and this is the time to reinvest and not to retreat. We're not asking for a one-time gift or a one-time funding, and we are looking for a stable, forward-looking commitment to the program. So I hope you will consider putting funding back in and for this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Katie Delaney, followed by Amina Shale, and then Kenya Wade.
Hi, Louisville Metro Council. Thank you for your service. I've been here at many of these hearings and I see exactly what is at stake, the diligence you've been taking at every moment in those hearings. I'm here today as a Portland resident, first and foremost. I'm the executive director of the Portland Museum, secondly. We have received an allocation from the mayor's budget to create Louisville's first children's museum west of the 9th Street Divide. This is a critical juncture for our community as a whole, not just for our neighborhood, but for the city of Louisville. I am asking you to please let us have that allocation so that we can build this children's museum. We have raised $2.1 million on our own without any help from the city, and this is by far what we need. So thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Next up is Amin Michelle, followed by Kenya Wade, and then Megan Cole.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amina Shaw, as many of you know. Today, I'm standing here as a mother, as a community advocate, and someone who grew up right here in Louisville after arriving as a refugee. I just want to start by saying that I'm not here for applause. I'm here to advocate and to raise the voices of those who've been told to sit down, be quiet, and wait their turn. This is their turn, and this is me refusing to be quiet. This year, we applied for the EAF grant that we've been told to apply every year. We applied for $30,000 to fund our 10-week summer program, and the amount was $30,000 through More Than a Smile. This camp wasn't just a summer program, it was a lifeline for many of our youth. We scored 90 on our application, but we were denied funding because one reviewer didn't complete the survey. They left everything blank across the board, and one incomplete form impacted 90 lives. And I could have accepted that answer. I could have waited my turn, like so many others have been told to do so, but that would have been a betrayal to the kids who walk from Park Hill to William Harrison Park, to the community members who chip in their last $5 for transportation, to the mothers who serve meals with smiles while their lights are off at home. We don't do this work for recognition. We do it because we know what happens when we don't. I want to share a story. You may have heard this name in the news the past 2 weeks or a week. His name is Mohammed Hassan. He's made headlines last week, but not everyone knows that Mohammed actually came to us and asked us, can I be a part of your soccer program? We actually cut down on our programming because we don't have funding. We don't get funded. Everything we do comes out of pocket, comes from community members, comes from individuals who've been concerned with what's been going on with our immigrant and refugee population. Mohammed came to our doors when we didn't have doors to open. Our doors were closed at the time. Now he's been arrested in connection to a murder. He showed up, but help wasn't funded at the time, so we couldn't give him that help. And the streets welcomed him in when the city couldn't invite him in. As city leaders talked about a surplus in our budget, we, More Than a Smile, we're actually scraping the little that we did have to try and configure a program in the summer because we knew that our kids were depending on us this summer. We honestly are tired of being told that, hey, apply next year. All these photo ops, ribbon cuttings, and strategic plans, we're tired of go to this leadership program, go to this office while our kids are being buried. Many mothers have told us, I've lost more kids here in the city than I have in the refugee camp, and that tells a story that many individuals have not heard yet. I just want to say that tonight we're asking for our application to be re-reviewed because we don't want another Mohammed.
Next up, Kenya Wade, followed by Megan Cole, and then Kelly Heiberger.
Good evening, my name is Kenny Wade, and I'm a District 1 tenant as well. I'm also a National Double social worker, space therapist, but unfortunately, I'm also a parent of a gun violence survivor. Because of this, I created Cyber Breakers Breaking Chains Incorporated, because I do not want other parents to go through this. My organization offers training to foster personal growth, education, accountability, mentoring, responsibility among gun violence victims, perpetrators, their families, and their community. We also offer wraparound and behavioral health with a strong focus with wraparound services and behavioral health services. We assist ages 8 to 24 years old with an extension to age 26. Our program provides the opportunity to develop decision-making skills, moral values, accountability to keep them alive. I have partnered with Neighborhood Plays, Jefferson County Public Schools, and other after-school programming. The feedback we have received has been tremendous from the youth, their parents, the staff members we have collaborated with. My questions for the allocated board is, who can speak to what I feel like is inconsistencies of threshold for funding consideration. In fact, I meet the threshold, so I'm wondering what the metrics and decision-making process is. With little or no support from Metro Council, I'm advocating for myself, for my program, by myself. We are combating 24-hour problems with no support and lack of support. The work that we have put in could reach and have greater impact with support and financial support specifically. The continued disrespect of my education, my degree, my lived experience, and being a parent of a gun violence survivor hasn't been able to divert me to the work that I have been called to do, show up for the youth and to help strengthen my community. My name is Kendi Wade, and I am a social worker, founder of Cycleburger Breaking Chains Incorporated. I also have packages of information if you like. I wasn't informed when I signed up to distribute this to handout, so if you like, please take a package. But please, if you're not gonna put it to use, I need it because it's the same reason why I'm here tonight, so I would like to keep it if you're not gonna put it to use. Thank you.
Madam the Clerk will take those. Thank you.
Next up, Megan Cole, followed by Kelly Heiberger, and then Abigail Usilli.
My name is Megan Cole. I'm the Save a Life Program Director for Whitney Strong, a Louisville-based nonprofit organization focused on finding common ground to end gun violence through data-driven, responsible gun ownership solutions. In the prevention education space, we have to think about what is most important for people to know and understand, because people often don't know what they don't know. I think about this concept personally because it's what brought me to Whitney Strong. 10 years ago, my Aunt Linda took her life with a firearm. I didn't know then that Linda had many health and personal factors that put her at a heightened risk for suicide. Because I didn't know this, I didn't know that she was displaying warning signs that I should have been watching out for. Because I didn't know these things, I didn't know I should have been making sure she couldn't access the firearms in her homes, or that there were tools available that could have put time and distance between her and those firearms. I didn't know what I didn't know, and while I can't go back and teach myself those things, I can work with Whitney Strong and the Save a Life team to teach others, so that they might have the opportunity and knowledge to save their loved ones in a way that I couldn't. What we do know is that according to the CDC, a Kentuckian dies by firearm every 10 hours. In fact, our firearm death rate is 33% higher than the national average. And in Jefferson County, we have the highest firearm homicide rate in the Commonwealth. And this disproportionately impacts our communities of color, as the firearm homicide rate for Black Kentuckians is 10 times the rate of white Kentuckians. We know that gun violence in all forms can be prevented by equipping community members with practical skills and information needed to reduce firearm death and injury. Our Save a Life program takes a universal approach to combating gun violence by offering evidence-based training solutions in the 10 Louisville neighborhoods most impacted and hardest hit by gun violence and suicide. These trainings focus on combating gun violence in multiple ways through proven prevention strategies, targeting suicide prevention and firearm safety education, and through Stop the Bleed trainings to equip people with the knowledge and tools to respond with life-saving care in emergency situations. All Save a Life training participants receive free kits that they walk away with tangible tools to support what they learn and help make their community safer. And we know through participant surveys that Save a Life programs are making a difference, with results showing increased knowledge and confidence levels across all outcomes for each of our programs. To date, over 1,700 Louisvillians have been trained in one or more of Whitney Strong Save a Life programs, and over 6,500 free gun locks have been distributed in our community. We're asking for continued funding from EAF for our ask of $73,000 from the city of Louisville, which covers about half of the budget for our Louisville program. This will allow Whitney Strong to continue teaching our community members what they need to know to help save lives and create a safer Louisville. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Kelly Heiberger, followed by Abigail Musili, and then Sophia Letts.
Hello, I'm Kelly Heiberger. I'm the Director of Territorial Affairs at the Filson Historical Society. And I want to thank you all for your time tonight, your time reviewing and preparing the budget, and for listening to all the public comments. We appreciate your work. The Filson Historical Society's mission is to collect, preserve, and tell the significant stories of Kentucky and the Ohio Valley's history and culture. We have operated here in Louisville for more than 141 years, and right now, documenting our collective history is more vital than ever. At the Filson, we believe that communities can build a stronger future by better knowing our past. To that end, the Filson is the steward and caretaker of over 2 million documents, thousands of books, rare maps, and historic artifacts. These items tell the diverse, the challenging, the beautiful, and the resilient story of our city and the people who call Louisville home. What sets the Filson apart and makes our organization so integral to this community is that we are open and accessible to everyone. You don't need to be an academic or a scholar to access the Filson's collections. Every day, we are helping ordinary citizens connect to their personal history and story. As a partner of the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund, our team of historians and archivists help connect dozens of rebirth applicants to the necessary documentation of their ancestors residing in historic redline districts in Louisville, and this enabled them to access funds to support their efforts towards homeownership. This work matters. This is history having a real intangible impact in our community. Beyond rebirth, our programs have served over 25,000 individuals last year. We greeted more than 1,800 researchers and brought in 355 new acquisitions to our collection. Many of these acquisitions document the stories of diverse and marginalized residents in Louisville. Our vast collection is also the backbone of numerous cultural institutions across Louisville Metro. From items on loan to researchers providing public lectures, the Filson has fingerprints across our community. Supporting the Filson has a multiplier effect much larger than a single investment. The Filson's growth allows for greater showcasing and interpretation of our local history, providing important opportunities for engagement and discourse across the city for the benefit and education of anyone wishing to engage. The ability to provide support for the Filson operations allows more access to research and collections, as well as growing our educational program for continued public engagement, civic activation, and building a stronger future generation of civically engaged citizens. Thank you for including us in the first round of budget funding, and we look forward to a continued partnership with Louisville Metro.
Abigail Musili, I hope I pronounced that well enough that you can recognize it. Sophia Letts, and then Preston Coots will be after that.
Thank you. I'm actually super impressed with how you pronounce my last name. I appreciate it. My name's Abby. I'm here because Louisville's transit crisis is a choice. It's a choice we can no longer afford to make. Everyday low-income riders, Black and brown communities, and disabled Louisvillians bear the brunt of our underfunded transit system. Nearly half of TARP riders live below the poverty line. Hey, I'm one of them. I can't afford a car, wish I could. Would love to take the bus. And when buses are late, when routes are cut, when service is unreliable, it's not just an inconvenience, it's discrimination. Let's be honest, TARP struggles are not an accident. They're the result of decades of underinvestment while other cities, neighboring cities, have moved forward. Cincinnati and Nashville voted to expand their transit. Indianapolis invests more per capita than we do. And meanwhile, Louisville leaders, some of y'all, act shocked when TARP says it needs funding, even though they've been sounding the alarm since 2009. I wasn't even hardly alive at that time. The TARP 2025 redesign is our chance to fix this. The enhanced option, just $10 million a year, would mean more frequent buses, weekend service, and real connections to jobs and schools. The growth option, which would be $50 million, would transform our city. And none of this happens without you guys stepping up for us. It's not just about buses, it's about racial justice, it's about climate justice, it's about supporting tourism, our bourbon-based economy. I would love to go drink bourbon, but I don't have reliable ways to get home after.
And it's about whether Louisville is a city that works for everyone or just people who can afford a car. Metro Council, you have made us promises, and honestly, unsubstantiated excuses that call bus stops too smelly or claim that our efforts won't work without anti-homeless benches, or the sentiment of not wanting to give access to your district to certain people. They just make you look bad, and it's embarrassing. Especially when it comes from people who posture like they're on the left. When people of Louisville have spoken, over 1,100 residents and 30 organizations, unions, neighborhood associations, advocacy groups have joined the Get on the Bus Coalition. And the demand is to fund the $10 million option for the enhanced option that's proposed by TARP 2025, and then commit to a referendum for the growth option in the future. And stop pretending it's a surprise, please start leading. Louisville deserves a transit system that works, so please fund TARP, let it grow, let's finally build the city that we deserve. Thank you guys.
Next up, Sophia Letts, Preston Coots, and then Danielle. Real. I'm sorry, I'll try again.
My name is Sophia Lotes, and I live in District 23. I present myself here today before you all to represent thousands of your constituents across the metropolitan area that deserve the public infrastructure to be prioritized in this budget proposal. I work with the Greater Louisville Head Start program as the Director of Analysis, where I see hundreds of families rely on public infrastructure to give them accessible routes to bring their children to our early learning centers and connect guardians to their jobs. Head Start aims to close the opportunity gap for young children, but without adequate funding to support the growth of reliable public conveyance infrastructure, families across the city without access to cars will be left underserved with decreased shared mobility and less avenues to reach community resources. The future of reduced carbon emissions, less traffic congestion and accidents, increased public health benefits, accessibly integrated neighborhoods, and enhanced community connections are at our fingertips if areas of the budget are prioritized to support these issues. If the consideration of your constituents' well-being is not enough to convince you to support areas of the budget like this, then look towards future economic development from a strictly revenue standpoint. Looking to our peer cities in Columbus, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis, they established a new standard for us to compete with by passing referendums in their last election cycle to enhance areas of their public infrastructure that supports increased mobility and interconnection within their cities. Imagine the return on investment when freedom of movement is promoted, creating an attractive environment for new businesses and tourists to choose our city to patronize. Tourism is an undeniable pillar of the city that directly stimulates our economic growth. In closing, I encourage you all, but especially my councilman Jeff Hudson, to genuinely conceive how Louisville will attempt to continuously catch up and compete with neighboring cities in the future without supplying ample funding to improve the connective infrastructure that is the baseline for a higher quality of life within our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Preston Coots, followed by Danielle Malira, and then Marion Fleming. Preston Coots. Danielle Malira. And again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name.
Good evening, my name is Danielle Haribwa. I'm the program manager for the Tavara Initiative. Thank you, council members, for this opportunity to speak to you about the Tavara Initiative, an outreach program for East African refugee and immigrant girls created by Gate of Hope Ministries International. Gate of Hope is a local nonprofit Christian organization whose mission is to encourage, educate, and empower vulnerable East Africans for a better future. While Gate of Hope may be new to many, we have been operating in Louisville for the past 17 years. We are guided by the values of loving all whom we serve unconditionally, cultivating authentic and mutually transformative relationships, building strong partnerships, spreading our resources responsibly and faithfully, as well as being responsive to the ever-evolving needs of our clients. This past year, we were the proud recipients of the Louisville Metro EAF grant of $10,000. With that investment, we were able to educate 90+ East African girls in English, Kinyarwanda, and Swahili about different issues related to building healthy friendships and relationships free from abuse and violence. Encourage those who needed additional support by connecting them to in-school and community resources and equipping them with the necessary knowledge and skills to not only protect themselves and their peers against exploitation, but to ultimately empower them to thrive and build healthy lives here in Louisville. As I mentioned, our program runs in English, Kinyarwanda, and Swahili in schools through groups of up to 12 students who meet either weekly or bi-weekly over about 12 weeks to talk and do exercises that cover a wide range of topics on relationships, including rights and consent, abuse, safety planning, and mental health and wellness, among others. This holistic approach ensures that participants not only understand the risks of exploitation and how to prevent it, but also develop the necessary wisdom to navigate life challenges effectively. We teach them skills centered on self-advocacy, critical thinking, and assertive communications so that the girls are empowered to become leaders and advocates in their own right. With 90+ girls, 90+ sessions, and 400+ hours over the past 5 months, we applied for the grant for this upcoming year, but were not recommended for funding because our score was lower than the threshold. I'm here to ask you all to please reconsider this decision and approve the grant in support of the East African girls whom we work with. Our program is currently in District 21, Districts 9, 10, 23, and 25. We know we're making a real impact in these girls' lives. We've served over 175 girls since we launched in December 2021. When asked what they liked about the groups, participants said they learned good information without shame or shyness. They said, "Thank you for teaching me about some things I have never understood. Thank you so much for helping us understand things we didn't know and usually wouldn't learn at school. I really like this group because you taught us things that we need to learn early to know as adults." On behalf of Gator Hope of the program and the girls who participate in these groups, thank you. Asante sana. Miracles.
Okay, next up, Mayor Fleming, followed by Alex Dietz, and then Nishant Traub.
Hi everyone, my name is Demarion Fleming. I did have a speech planned, but I'm pretty not gonna say nothing that you have not already heard 30 times. So Demarion Fleming, I am the executive director and founder of Sowing Seeds of Faith, an out-of-school academic enrichment program in the city of Louisville. There is not a zip code that we do not impact. We have over 25 community partners that we work with. Some you've heard today, some you funded, and some you didn't. I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money or how to grade people, how they propose their programs. Everybody here feels like their program is the best, and it's the difference between life and death. Since I've been sitting back there, I've learned a lot about these other organizations, which is pretty dope. So I don't think Sowing Seeds of Faith is doing anything different than these other organizations. However, I feel like we're doing more for more people. We do impact over 3,000 kids in JCPS. We do have a summer program for 175 kids with over 150 kids on our waiting list. We do tutoring all over the city of Louisville for over 300 kids both in the fall and spring. We do have an HBCU college tour that we take over 100 kids both spring break and fall break. One of the biggest issues we have is that we offer summer employment for high school students. We had over 191 kids apply. We only had the funding to hire 30. Sowing Seeds of Faith is the difference between life and death, of course, no different than anybody else. I feel like we are also more relevant in regards to moving from important to impactful. I don't think no organization is doing the work that we've done at the level which we've done it with the people we've done it for, but the partners we've done it with. Sowing Seeds of Faith has been a catalyst for over 10+ years. I've been doing this work. I've been at this podium a few times. And again, I think you all are tremendous in what you do. I would not sign up for this. I think you all heard every testimony you possibly hear in the Bible and in every Quran. So again, Sowing Seeds of Faith is just here to make a difference. We appreciate you all. We did not get funded. We're not here to complain or we just want to comply and make sure that you all know who we are and what we're doing. So we just encourage you all to come out to be a part of what we do. We have turkey drives. We do HBCU college tours. We have a 8-week summer program at Central High School. We just encourage you to come poke your head in and see what's going on, figure out how you can be a part of the solution and not part of the problem. I was raised by a single mom who said there's two options. You can complain or you can contribute. So Sowing Seeds of Faith is just trying to be a contributing partner to any and everybody that we can help and support. We feel like we can do it for your kids, those kids in your districts, and those not in your districts. Those in your homes, those in your churches, and those in your communities. Sons of the Faith is the epitome of No Child Left Behind. We don't try to wait no kid. But we've been doing it for a while. We don't plan on changing it. And we've never allowed money to prevent us from doing what we wanted to do, and we never will. We just want to make sure that we have the right people in the room as we continue to make change and be the change. So thank you again. Hope to see you all soon.
Next up, Alex Dietz, followed by Nick Shantraw.
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm here to talk about how the budget could potentially impact immigrants in our community. Right now, we're asking for no increase in the LMPD budget. Right now, the LMPD has said they look for non-compliance with ICE, but we've seen that Oldham County and Bullock County have been partnering with ICE, and with Donald Trump saying that he described as the largest deportation program in American history. We want to ensure that that's not coming here to Louisville. Right now, the 2017 ordinance, Metro government officers do not comply with ICE, except for a judicially authorized warrant or articulated risk of violence. That sounds pretty vague to me. I think by funneling a lot of these funds into programs that have been proven to reduce violence, we can make immigrants in the community feel safer.
Thank you. Next up is Nashawn Traub, and I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. I apologize.
It's crazy, but it's good.
Sorry. I'm glad I pronounced it well enough. You can recognize the leadership.
You're fine. You're simply fine. Thank you so much, council, for having me here today. I want to come to you all for a couple of reasons. One of them is I am from Base Community Development Corporation, which is a nonprofit headquarters inside of Smoketown. And we are creating a wonderful program called the Smoketown Sports Academy. The reason why we're developing this whole program was based off of the need in the community of underserved communities not having access to the things that's needed, and also trying to be preventive inside of when you think of that balance. Me being a mother of a gun violence victim, I'm always looking to figure out what can we have some stable programs that we can help so the kids can have a brighter future. And so one of those is that we're going to start a Smoketown Arts Academy this summer. We're going to do a test run this summer, and we think it'll be great because a lot of our kids are smart, they're creative, and they have the power to do anything they want to do if they have the resources that's needed. A lot of these nonprofits, you all have heard them come in here, and a lot of people like them, I said they're doing great work, and we agree that they are. But the one thing, being in Smoketown, we have so many things that we are facing with areas, is, food insecurity, and we're facing health challenges and health equity, and the list goes on and on and on. But we are coming to say, hey, we got to show it to youth. The youth is our generation, that's our next generation, and that's our future. And we are creating a storytelling, art history, as well as media. We're going to be doing arts and culture and creative. So we have recently applied for you all's art and creative funding. Of course, we got it was ineligible, so we got the notice of the ineligible, and it was based off of the NE code. It was based off our code, and the code was we are listed underneath community involvement, which of course we're 29 years old, so when we started this 29 years ago. But since then, life has changed, people have changed, kids have changed, and then their desire to do things differently has changed as well. So we never started as a community involvement is one of our codes, but we're not, we are that plus more, let me say that, we are that plus more right now. So we wanted to go out and to see, okay, we requested $50,000 for this particular, for a 10-week program in the summer. One thing that you have to understand, inside of Smoketown, you have to have programming for the youth. We're not gonna be able to have if the program is not there, then I'm gonna tell you, then crime numbers are gonna go up. We're gonna have, instability with the families and your kids going up. So a lot of different changes going up, so we come to you asking you all to reconsider, think about that, and to think about, incorporating base community development corporation for our Smoketown Arts Academy, and we appreciate you all listening.
Thank you. That concludes our speakers. Councilman Wynn.
Yeah, colleagues, I just want to make a quick announcement. Security notified me earlier that we had a pipe burst. If you're using the Congress Alley exit, that exit is flooded. The bay doors that are to the right of it, you could go that way or you could just use the front door. But where the guard sits at the Congress Alley exit, you don't want to use those doors. So they're just going to pass the wall.
All of that with the recommendation, you might want to exit the parking lot onto Market instead of Congress Alley.
Through every note, every performance, the arts connect us. The arts connect us through joy and through awe, bridging cultures and generations. From intimate theaters to the grandest stages, the arts bring us together, reminding us that we're never truly alone. When we experience the arts, we experience each other. Kentucky Performing Arts. The arts connect us.
If you do nothing else.
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 If you do nothing